In the comments on our Facebook page, you asked us how long does a Tesla burn and long it takes to fight the fire. And because the voice of the audience is more valuable than gold, here you go. Tesla burns like this and goes out very easily. Just kidding. Just touch the screen. Hi, there are only 24 cars in the world whose power exceeds the magical and terrifying number of 1,000 horsepower. Among them are hypercars like Mercedes AMG 1, Zenvo TS RS, Koenigsegg 1, Bugatti Chiron, and this modest sedan with 19-inch hubcaps. Tesla Model S Plaid has 1020 horsepower. I repeat, 1020 horsepower. Well, that's a figure which makes your imagination run wild. And not only your imagination. Look again at my face while accelerating. And at this car, how do we compare it to the other models that I told you about, which have more than 1,000 horsepower? And then we look at the Model S Plaid. This car doesn't look like it's going to turn your intestines into minced meat. For those who know about the existence of Tesla and the Model S, but don't really follow the development of this brand, it will be hard to notice the facelift that the Model S has gone through. But when we look at the photos of the front and the back, we can see the changes. Especially in the front, I've never been a fan of the Model S because it always seemed a bit old-fashioned to me, outdated the day it came out. But now, after the facelift, the oval radiator cover has been removed, and it's amazing how much it has changed. The car has become much more modern and, in my opinion, beautiful. The car also lost a lot of chrome, the taillights got a different LED design, and the wheel arches are now a bit wider. What distinguishes the Plaid from the regular version is the carbon fiber rear flap, which is similar to the front grille, but in a completely opposite direction because it perfectly extends the car's line and makes it look much better. In addition, a symbol on the tailgate appeared symbolizing the distortion of time and space. However, it is not the changes on the outside that distinguish the S model from the inside, because in the new Tesla, instead of a steering wheel, you get a yoke. Yes, Tesla gives you only a half of the regular steering wheel. However, Elon Musk could not push it as far and exclude the option of a normal steering wheel. But initially the yoke was the standard, and if you wanted to have a regular steering wheel, you had to pay extra for it. But very quickly, Tesla customers made it clear to Elon Musk that it shouldn't be this way. That's why it has been changed now. The steering wheel is standard, and the yoke is an option, which requires you to pay 5,000 PLN. So, as we are speaking about the steering wheel, let's go deeper into using this miracle. First of all, it's too big. Once you learn how to turn it, it starts to cover everything. The second, more annoying thing is the indicator controls were replaced by semi-touch sensitive buttons on the steering wheel. Sort of modern, kind of cool, but only until you drive on a roundabout and you want to get off it, signaling it to other road users. Then it turns out that you have no idea which arrow is for which direction. That's not all, because Tesla also decided to put the horn on the other side of the steering wheel, and the control button is touch sensitive as well. As a result, you start using the horn more often than the drivers in Tunisia, because every time you place your hand on the steering wheel, you activate the horn. And when your polite friend activates a certain feature, the effects get out of control. You not only have to apologize to other road users, but also feel ashamed. Design-wise, the interior has changed a lot. I like the look of the screen. It's not a vertical 17-inch screen, but a 17-inch screen with a horizontal position. I would call it a tablet. I think that the new interior looks better than in the previous model. Different than in the Model 3, this screen can be moved, so you can adjust it either facing the passenger or driver's side. It takes a while, but this screen goes in one or the other direction. The system is similar like what I showed you in the Model 3, so you have the same games, the same applications, music, drawing, farting app, whatever you want. But there is one difference, and when you push the brake pedal on the left side, you will see a slider to change the direction of the ride. To be honest, it is not very comfortable, but there is a disappearing alternative, because it turns out that when you push the brake pedal on this panel, you can also choose the driving direction. But you have to know where it is because they disappear. And to be honest, I don't understand why it can't light up all the time. Absolute nonsense. Everyone always says that Tesla is badly made and badly fitted. Let's check how it looks in the Model S facelift, and I will say it straight away. The top of the dashboard is soft. I mean, it's not super soft. It's some kind of synthetic material put on plastic, and obviously it's something eco, but it's very soft. It's very soft. The screen is adjustable, so no need to pull it and press it now. The rest, well, there are some weird sounds I will tell you later about during the ride. However, it moves. I put a lot of force into it. Unfortunately, it all moves, and it does that also while driving. Here's what I mean. Actually, you don't feel the poor fitment when you drive normally and you hit some typical bumps. Then you don't really hear it. You hear it the most when the body has to cope with pitch and roll and other movements. First of all, you will feel it on the residential streets where there are bumps that put some stress on the body and suspension. You drive slowly and then the bodywork bends. I need to also talk about the back seats because there are a few things worth mentioning. The most surprising thing is how much space there is in front of the knees. Just to remind you, I'm 183 centimeters tall. The front seat is set for me, and look at this, there is nothing to complain about. Also, above the head, 5 fingers of free space. It's great here. However, you probably noticed that my knees are quite high because the floor is quite high due to the battery. I'm sitting low and you see I have almost no support at all. This means that on a longer trip, I will feel less comfortable here. This is not a position which I could bear during a long trip. Unfortunately, in my opinion, that's a big downside. However, on the plus side, you have this screen at the back which provides you with entertainment like Netflix, Disney+, YouTube, Twitch. There is a lot of it to choose from. Of course, you can also control the music. You can also control the heating of the seats. All 3 seats are heated here on this couch. You can also control the front seat if you want to get a little more space. And of course, you can control the air conditioning. And this is cool because the graphics are just great. The airflow looks so cool. It really looks great. If there are only 2 people sitting in the back, they can use the backrest here. There's a magic button to unlock it, and you have an armrest with 2 cup holders, a small storage bin, and 2 wireless chargers. When it comes to the cargo space, Tesla offers you 2 boots. The first one in the front and the second one is in the back. They have a total capacity of 793 liters. As you can see, the back is quite interesting. There is a deep recess for different things like cables, but you can also use it like me, go fishing, throw a rod and use it as a chair. A nice solution. Anyway, the boot cover is solid and foldable with little magnets inside. You can fold the rear seats and get an almost flat floor. It rises a little bit, but it's all even. In terms of versatility, I have to say that there is nothing to complain about. The Model S Plaid has almost 800 liters of cargo space, ISOFIX in the rear seats, the option of a fireplace, Disney Plus for children and 1020 horsepower that accelerates this over 2-ton electric car from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 2.1 seconds. And I know that many of you are waiting to finally check it. But calm down. You thought that you just need to press the gas pedal and that's it. It's not that easy. First, you need to turn on the dragster mode on your computer. Then the car prepares to get the most performance. When this time is over, you press the brake pedal, the gas pedal to the maximum, the car starts to prepare, lowers the front suspension, takes a position of a cheetah. You wait all the time, it's still preparing, and then you let go of the brake and you can reach 100 kilometers per hour in 2 seconds. Okay, all set. Let's find out what this Tesla can do. Numbers are just numbers, bone dry data, and they will not show you how this acceleration actually affects a person who doesn't expect it at all. So I decided to show it in a different way. Look how people react to the acceleration. This car is definitely crazy, but so far we have experienced it only in a straight line. And on this planet there are curves too. And here I have to admit that I am very torn. Because on one hand, the steering wheel, which personally still annoys me, is set that you don't have to take your hand off the steering wheel, for example on a country road where there are normal turns. You are only able to drive around corners without having changed the position of your hands on the steering wheel. But there are also downsides. It's the reaction of the wheels to the steering wheel input. Because when you drive calmly, everything is fine. But when you want to make a fast move, I have the impression that this car is completely surprised. Just as I am surprising people by accelerating with this car is surprised when I want to make a quick maneuver. There is a huge delay here. Something is clearly wrong here. There is no directness, no confidence. You move the steering wheel, and the car says, oh my, I'm surprised. You also have to remember that the Model S Plaid weighs 22-37 kilos. It's 93 kilos heavier than the standard version, and unfortunately it is noticeable because when you enter a corner, you feel that you are dealing with a quite large mass. Undoubtedly, this car has absurd power and an absurd torque of 1424 Newton meters. And the problem with all this is that on a daily basis that you will use this for just fractions of a second. Because shortly after you press the gas pedal, you have to take your right foot off it, because immediately you are over the speed limit. The brake pedal only works on disc brakes, and the recuperation only happens when you take your foot off the gas pedal. In short, the brakes used in the S model are insufficient. If you want to drive dynamically, they will get tired very quickly. I haven't told you anything about the drive yet. Despite the fact that the Model S facelift hasn't changed much in the car's appearance, don't get fooled by it, because it's a completely different car. We still have 3 engines here, 1 in the front and 2 in the back, but compared to the previous generation, we don't have 2 motors with a permanent magnet and 1 induction, but 3 induction motors. Therefore, the motors, due to their construction, are able to withstand much greater loads than before. Of course, as you probably guessed, there is also a standard all-wheel drive. But the Model S, even in this version with 1020 horsepower, is a family car. So I think that 90% of the time, the owners of this car will travel calmly. And here, in this situation, I have to explain the steering wheel a bit, because when you have time and don't drive fast, you have time to think about the operation of this steering wheel, you can get used to it. I would still prefer a regular steering wheel, because here you need to adapt and understand how to drive differently. It's a gadget, just a gadget which can irritate you very quickly. Anyway, when driving slowly, it's worth mentioning the suspension. I mentioned before that Tesla doesn't like axle articulation. When you put stress on the bodywork, you can hear every part making sounds. But the suspension itself also doesn't like uneven roads. When going over bumps, you will feel the knocking somewhere in the suspension, but in most cases on normal roads, it handles quite well. I wouldn't call it a sports car. I would call it powerful, hellishly powerful, but it is far away from a sports car and a car I would like to race on a track. No, I would like to race it on a quarter-mile strip. That's why this mode is called dragster. This car accelerates brilliantly on a straight road, and it is made for that. For turns, not so much. The base Model S, which offers you a range of 634 kilometers and 3.2 seconds from 0 to 100, starts from 449,990 PLN. However, if you want to have that terrifying 1020 horsepower in the Plaid version and about 600 kilometers of declared range, you have to spend at least 519,990 PLN. Is that a lot of money? Yes. Will you buy any other car offering such power for such money? No? The summary will not be easy, because the car behind me is not the most ordinary. 1020 horsepower is an abstract number, and accelerating this car you have the feeling like the seats are sucking blood from you. I have never experienced something like this before, but on the other hand, it's not only acceleration that you want from an electric car. Tesla still has a lot to learn in terms of handling build quality, especially when compared to European competitors. But also, to be fair, I need to stress that Tesla did an amazing job in a very short time. You can say that you don't like electric cars, you can say that combustion cars only, but what this brand has done in the last few years certainly deserves praise. What do you think about this monster behind me? I'm waiting for your comments, and see you in the next tests.